Alright, welcome back to Sherlock Holmes to Jack the Ripper. Why is my arm suddenly itchy as soon as I press record? Right, okay, so we are in Tumbletee's room, I think. Um, from when last time. Oh, hi, Watson. Alright, let's read this now. I found Tumbletee's. Yeah, I was right. Okay. Do not understand how you find yourself in this situation. Your passionate discussions on the legitimacy of this war should have convinced more than one. I still remember when you intimidated him during that meeting. You struck that very characteristic pose and you exclaimed, "Victory is the key. The war can never be brought to a close until the key is in our pocket." We all applauded. I am sure that even Lincoln himself would have applauded. During these dark hours, it was rare to have the occasion to laugh. So many deaths ended with the much-loved president killed by this coward and left to join those victory at Gettysburg, who courageously fell so that the next day the key would be in our pocket. Right, okay. So this is talking about the American Civil War. I thought at first it was talking about the World War, even though this is set before the World Wars. This is set in 1888, and I didn't even think about that. It was just like I saw the word war and it's just like, oh, it must mean the World Wars. Even though it's definitely talking about the American Civil War.
If this letter is addressed to him, it would appear our doctor is a veteran of the American Civil War. Vicksburg is the key. Now, that is interesting.
Okay. Right, fine.
There are a few pieces of a large glass jar in this puddle. The man who left the footprints on the ground must have walked in it while fleeing.
I don't think that's the one thing I want to be looking at. Anyway, I've had something. Dear Francis, it is impossible for us to meet again. I am feeling terrible, as pursuing our relationship further would put both my marriage and my reputation in danger. I must return to that life of love, fleeting and physical, in which a few coins to these young men assures corporal peace? Corporal peace. I don't know. I'm guessing that's what that says anyway. And anonymity. Remain anonymous. These growing feelings that I have for you make me scared, and I would prefer to shun this passion for the fear that it may never leave me. Perhaps we shall cross paths again one day in a discreet location where like-minded men meet. I know that you frequent them regularly. You never hide yourself. For my part, I will spend more time with my wife and girls in order to find the serenity, and I hope to throw the veil of oblivion over our passionate embraces. All the best, Charles. Okay, my dear friends, it is in putting aside our compass and thus as a friend that I am sending you these words. I have learned from some mutual friends of your recent trouble with the law. You should be more careful. England has nothing in common with the Wild West, but here seedy areas can be just as dangerous. Your attraction to young rogues will cost you dearly one of these days, whether it be at the end of the alley or at the benches of a jury. A man of your quality and fortune does not have to frequent the hovels and bring his pistol with him everywhere. It is not necessary to use violence to find partners unless the violence pleases you. Certain circles that we used to frequent are still open to you. Take advantage of this healthy and respectable company rather than demeaning yourself with these destitute lads. And pray get rid of that god-awful chest. Who knows what the people to whom you show while bragging must think and speak of it. The man you once loved, Henry.
This Dr. Tumbletee seems to be attracted to men more than women. That much is clear. So, the doctor has a handgun, and he would use it to restrain young men, perhaps.
Okay. So he's talking about the chest. Probably this one full of jars like that. The bed. This. So is that everything, I think, other than... I think so.
Going by its size, this enormous trunk must be a wardrobe.
Oh, yes. Approximate quarters. So are these...
I am under the impression that the dates written correspond to the battles, Holmes, but one is missing.
Is it not?
Let's see. 5 latches, each fitted with a 6-number combination system.
There's 6 numbers here, for fuck's sake. Oh. Okay, what the fuck? I've not a fucking clue. Well, I suppose I could just put them in order. No, I can't put them in order. There's the Gettysburg letter. I owe you. No, it's not that one. Documents. Is it this one? Yes. Vicksburg is the key.
Going by its size,
The Morrow the key. I ain't a fucking faintest idea what it wants me to do. So I'm gonna look up the guide. I mean, obviously it wants me to sort them basically, like the year of battles and shit like that. But I don't know year of battles. I'm not American. I don't know what flags or uniforms or shit like that. I'm terrible with this shit. So, pet shop, retail, what's this? Right, yeah, I've done that. Somebody's room. There we go. Look for the trunk. Okay. Seniors and Microsoft bars at the bottom of the dates. Aim of the puzzle is to enter the dates of the battles on the left side of the location of the battle, the flags and victor of that battle. When the correct date, flag, and the uniform are entered, the bar on the right is pulled back. Right. Okay, but like I said, I don't know them. The dates are in chronological order and are taken from the dates at the bottom. Gettysburg was July 4th, apparently. There's only a 4th of December in terms of American dates. Because it's month, day, year, isn't it? In America. Oh, it's talking about this, isn't it? Wait, no, that's the 4th of September. Oh, it's talking about, like, yeah, so it would be, wait, so July is the 6th month? Or is it, no, or is it, no, it's the 7th. Yeah, July's the 7th. So it'd be 0, 7, 0, 4. But I don't know what year. Well, it's 60 or 70, isn't it? I don't know, Gettysburg. I don't know. Right, it's a screenshot here, I think. Right, so 1204 6 1. Got some and it's the cross flag and then grey. Oh, okay. 1709. Oh shit, 1709 62. And it was, I don't even know, I'm looking at that. That apparently. While I'm here, I might as well just do all the flags and shit. That was the only one that has green on it, so it's that one. That one, yeah, and that one. And then it's a brown cowboy hat. That one, I think, yeah. Green, yeah. Blue. Yeah, you. Okay, and now it's just the date, so it's 02 05 6 3. That greyhound. Okay. Gettysburg apparently is 3. 7. 6, 3. Okay. And then 4, 7, 6, 3. So this would be the 4th of July, but wouldn't it have been in American?
Elementary.
Like American formatting where it's month, day, year rather than day, month. Yeah, okay.
This is dreadful, Holmes. This
Oh,
trunk
it's not
contains
textured.
4 jars in which organs are floating.
Watson, can you tell me at a glance what these organs are?
I would say that they are parts of female reproductive organs.
Are these specimens fresh?
No, and I am quite certain of it. From the colour and appearance, I'd say these organs have been in these jars for several months, if not years.
Let's go to Baker Street.
Baker Street.
Is there someone here?
Yes.
What's going on, Finley? You seem to be in a panic.
The 2 police officers wanted to know if someone suspicious had entered here. The Whitechapel killer has struck again, and if I understood correctly, he killed 2 women in the past few hours.
Where?
I don't know. The police didn't tell me anything.
Quick, Holmes, we must catch up with them.
Certainly not, Watson. Mr. Finley, do you know if the doctor had any other pieces of luggage up there apart from this trunk?
1 or 2, I think.
Do you take care of the doctor's laundry?
My wife does laundry for the tenants once a week. The sheets likewise.
Would you be kind enough to let us know as soon as possible if the doctor shows up again?
Certainly. I'm just worried that he won't be back, you see, and I'm annoyed about my keys.
Holmes, I don't follow. The Whitechapel killer is, at this very moment, very close by, and we are just staying put, twiddling our thumbs.
The Whitechapel killer has always been nearby, and what will we do? Go back to the scene of the crime or crimes and mix with the onlookers and trample the crime scenes even more? No, our time will come. Let's return to Baker Street.
Let's go back to Baker Street. Home, sweet home.
Nah, bro. I thought I wanted me to do it.
We were less than 200 feet away from the first victim a few minutes before she was murdered. We might even have heard the murderer's voice, and we haven't done a thing for the past week.
You're the one not doing anything, Watson. For my part, I have been working, and as you know, I've made good use of this week by tracking down and verifying all of the solid facts on these 2 murders to write up the notes that are on my desk, read them over again, and try to gain a bit of perspective.
Note on the murder of Lestrade at Dufield's yard. Certain information I've collected must be verified. Lestrade, nicknamed Long Liz, 45 years old, height 5'5", occasional prostitute. She lived for the past 3 years in a stormy relationship with a certain Kidney. What? A waterside labourer, 36 years of age, who she left a few days earlier. She charged him with assault but failed to appear in court, and the case was thrown out. The victim was discovered dead by one Libis Daimschultz at 1 o'clock in the morning on September 30th. The man's first thought was to verify if his wife in the building next door was still alive before sounding the alarm. The 2 doctors who came at the police request to the scene of the crime in the moments after discovery the corpse put the time of death after 12:46 a.m. Cause of death hemorrhage due to throat injury. The weapon was a small knife with a large blunt edge. The verification of the statement is necessary. Could this wound have been caused by another tool? Neither the body nor the clothes were damaged, soiled, or disturbed by the killer. The right hand was open, stained with blood, and resting on the chest. The left hand was on the ground, partially closed, holding a packet of pastilles. The location of discovery was a courtyard called Dufield's Yard, whose doors lead onto Berners Street in Whitechapel. The victim was found stretched out on the ground a few inches from the wall of one of the buildings served by this courtyard, the International Working Men's Club. This association, composed mainly of Jews originally from Russia and Poland, were organising a conference that night on the subject, Why Should Jews Be Socialists?, presided by Mr. Maurice Eagle. The meeting ended around 11:30 p.m, but many members remained to debate and sing within the premises of the association. An American present that evening declared to have been in the courtyard at 12:20 a.m. and went into the street and didn't see anything unusual. He then returned back inside the club, but his estimation of time spent outside is approximate at best. Two witnesses were quoted by the press: Constable Smith, who was doing his rounds in the area on the night in question, and a Hungarian by the name of Schwartz, who he made his statement at the police station accompanied by an interpreter because he does not speak English. A transcription of these statements by the press should be treated with caution. It would be advisable, if at all possible, to consult the exact content. Observe the clothing worn by the victim as well as her possession at the time of the discovery of the body. Clothing: a long black cloth jacket, fur trimmed around the bottom with a red rose and white maiden hair fern pinned to it, black shirt, black crepe bonnet. Crepe. Is it meant to be crepe now? Checked neck scarf knotted on left side, dark brown velveteen bodice, two light serge petticoats, one white chemist, white stockings, spring-sided boots, two handkerchiefs. One is noticed to have fruit stains on it. A thimble, a piece of wool wound around a card. In the pocket, in her underskirt, a key, a small piece of lead pencil, 6 large and 1 small button, a comb, a broken piece of comb, a metal spoon, a hook as from a dress, a piece of muslin, 1 or 2 small pieces of paper. Okay. For fuck's sake. Not in the matter of Catherine Eddowes, 46-year-old, height 5 foot, occasional prostitute. She had a regular relationship for 7 years with one John Kelly, a man of no regular employment and about the same age as the victim. The victim was found dead at 1:44 a.m. on September 30th by P.C. Watkins and was on his rounds. He secured the area by calling to the watchman of the warehouse located some feet from the crime scene. According to the doctor who arrived on the scene at 12:18 a.m., the victim had just been dead for half hour, unlikely, but we know from experience how hard it is precisely to establish the time of death when the corpse has been very mistreated. Cause of death: hemorrhage due to a throat wound. The medical examiner also confirmed that, additionally, the extractions committed on the corpse were done post-mortem by a right-hand man possessing a long-bladed knife. The victim was subject to numerous mutilations. The victim was found stretched out in a dark corner Market Square, notorious meeting spot for prostitutes and their clients because of its remote, poorly lit location. It should be noted that the victim was freed from the Bishopgate Street police drunk tank at 1 o'clock in the morning. Market Square was visited at 1:30 a.m. by P.C. Watkins coming from Market Street, and at 1:42 a.m. by P.C. Harvey coming from Church Passage. The two police constables didn't see anything suspicious in the area, but it should be noted that P.C. Harvey didn't enter into Market Square, unlike P.C. Watkins. The watchman who came to lend a hand to Watkins at the time of the discovery of the body had been awoken during the time of the crime. His door is located a few feet from the spot where the victim was dying and didn't hear anything until the police's call. Firstly, we must note that the clothing worn by Catherine Eddowes was very characteristic. I think in particular the patterned green chintz skirt as well as the white men's vest. A few of her possessions, including the thimble, were found around the corpse. The white apron was found on the corpse with a part missing, thus this missing part previously resewn, thus ensuring authenticity. Was found at 2:55 a.m. on the night of the murder by P.C. Alfred Long, who states that the object wasn't there at his preceding patrol at 2:20 a.m. The piece of bloody apron was found in the entrance hall leading to the stairs of 108 and 119 Wentworth modal dwellings on Golston Street. At the right of the entrance, just above the apron. At the right of the entrance, just above the apron, was found the following inscription: chalk. The Jews are not the men that will be blamed for nothing. The Jews are not the men that will be blamed for nothing. The Wentworth model dwelling building being almost exclusively occupied by Israelites and Golston Street being the site of a very popular, much frequented market, he decided to erase the inscription before the day broke. Kate Eddowes' belongings: wearing at the time of the murder black straw bonnet trimmed in green and black velvet with black beads, black strings worn tied to the head, black cloth jacket trimmed around the collar and cuffs with imitation fur and around the pockets in black silk braid and fur, large metal buttons, dark green chintz skirt, 3 flounces brown button and waistband. The skirt is patterned with Michaelmas daisies and golden lilies. Man's white vest, matching buttons down front, brown linsey bodice, black velvet collar with brown buttons down front, grey stuff petticoat and white waistband. Very old green alpaca skirt worn as undergarment. Very old ragged blue skirt with red flounces. Light twill lining worn as undergarment. White calico chemise or chemise. Pair of men's lace boots. Mohair laces. Right boot repaired with red thread. A piece of red gauze silk worn as a neckerchief. One large white pocket handkerchief, one large cotton handkerchief with red and white bird's eye border, 2 unbleached calico pockets, taped strings, 1 blue striped bed ticking pocket, brown ribbed knee stockings down with white cotton, possession of 2 small blue bags, 2 short black clay pipes, 1 tin box containing tea, 1 tin box containing sugar, 1 tin matchbox, empty, 12-piece white rag, 1 piece of coarse linen, white, 1 piece of blue and white shirting, 3 cornered, 1 piece of red flannel with pins and needles, 6 pieces of soap, 1 small tooth comb, 1 white handle table knife, 1 metal spoon, 1 red leather cigarette case with white metal fittings, 1 ball hemp, 1 piece of old white apron with repair, several buttons and a thimble. Mustard tin containing 2 pawn tickets, 1 in the name of Emily Barrow, 52 Whites Road, dated August 1st. ID for a man's flannel shirt. I don't know. The other is the name of Jane Kelly of 6 Dorset Street and dated September 28th. 2S. I don't know. For a pair of men's boots, both addresses are false. Printed handbill, portion of a hair of spectacles, 1 red mitten. Alright, and so after
I have
all that,
read and reread them. But give me something to do then. A task where I can get stuck in, because...
Find me a slaughterhouse that will give us exclusive use of its block for an hour. And find me, in your opinion, which common animal shares the most characteristics with humans from a physiological point of view?
Pig?
I don't even know why I asked that question. Pray, find a dozen fresh pig's heads, Watson. Not big heads, I prefer small ones.
Sows?
That's it, Watson. As soon as you have done that, let me know. I request that you search in Whitechapel. Who knows, perhaps you will learn something about where Dr. Tumblety may be hiding. There is also no shortage of slaughterhouses and pig's heads in those parts.
alright. Ooh. I'm trying to think where I would even go. Pet shop one have pigs with it. Slaughterhouse might be up in. Oh wait, unless it's in London. No, New. I mean, he said Whitechapel, so. Oh, I suppose I can just go with you.
What a ridiculous idea to have asked Holmes for something to do. Where on earth am I going to find what he wants? Perhaps that kind Lucy will be able to help me.
Was she there, or do I go for the brothel? I have to go for the brothel, which I think is down here. I think I'm wrong.
I must go to Miss Bella.
Yeah, I know that now. Oh, there she is.
Good evening, Lucy. But is something wrong?
Good evening, Dr. Watson. Yes, it's my uncle. He's no longer with us.
Please accept my condolences, miss.
Thank you, Doctor. But why are you here? Can I help you?
My request may sound rather strange, but do you know if there is a butcher's or slaughterhouse in the area where pigs are killed?
Yes, Fletcher's the man. He was a regular client, owner of a little butcher's shop not far. But Miss Bella didn't want him to come, as long as he didn't treat his awful sickness.
Can you point to his shop on my map?
Certainly.
Do you know anything about the 2 latest murders?
Oh, goodness me, no. All the girls in the neighbourhood are terrified. Who will be next? That's what everyone is asking.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Lucy.
Until next time, perhaps, Doctor.
Alright, so...
Ah, there's Fletcher's butcher shop.
It's clearly closed.
Closed due to illness. If the proprietor is ill, the butcher's block is probably not being used. Perhaps I can use it. Now, where could a sick butcher have got to?
Probably the clinic. Next door.
Yes, if Fletcher is ill, he should be here.
Good evening, Dr. Watson.
Good evening, Dr. Gibbons. I have come to see you because I was wondering if, by any chance, you happen to have a patient by the name of Fletcher, a butcher who would have relinquished his shop due to illness. An illness caught during nocturnal encounters, if you catch my drift.
Fletcher is one of the regulars at the clinic. Mercury treatment against syphilis. A night with Venus, a lifetime with Mercury. He left London a fortnight ago for the fresh country air. Why is he of interest to you?
Oh, no reason. I'm more interested in using his shop, only for an hour or so. Would he have left his keys with family in the area?
He has none left, but he must have left Hardiman, the cat's meat seller, to oversee his shop. They're in business. They're good friends.
Do you know where he can be found?
No, but wander around the neighbourhood and listen for his beep beeps. He often passes in front of the clinic. Besides...
What do you mean besides? Wait a minute. Oh shit. I just thought then, I think it was in this game. Isn't that guy in this? Didn't we already like...
It's me that you're looking for, sweetheart.
No, it ain't.
Actually, no. I am looking for the cat food seller, Hardiman.
Hardiman? Poor Hardiman? It isn't quitting time for him yet. That gives me some time to wander the streets before he shows up, and with him all the cats hereabouts.
Do you know where he lives?
Sure. And for a copper, I might even tell you.
Here are a few coins.
You're too kind, Governor. Well, these days I knows that he lives with his mammy on Hanbury Street, in the same place where Dark Annie bled to death.
Why did you call him poor Hardiman?
Bah! He's in grieving, of course. Just a few weeks ago he lost his wife, and 3 months before that his girl, poor fella. He was in tatters. Even came to cry on my shoulder, believe it or not.
Yeah, I choose not to believe it.
Well, I must leave you. I must go to Hanbury Street.
Hanbury Street is here, isn't it? No. There we go, Hanbury Street.
This is the building in which poor Annie Chapman was killed. Beep beep!
Oh, no, right.
Beep beep! Hello, are you Mr. Hardiman?
That's me.
I am Dr. Watson. I have come to see you about Fletcher's shop. I would like to use it for an hour or two, if you have the keys and your rates are reasonable.
Do you want to operate on someone in the butcher's?
Not at all. One of my friends needs it to prepare pig's heads.
Well, why not? Fletcher certainly wouldn't mind, but there's a problem.
A problem?
Yeah, we got the
How
keys
so?
over here.
This morning, the neighbour above broke his key in the door. The old boy must have already had a drink.
So?
Well, I tried my best to unjam it with Fletcher's spare key, which is pretty thin, and bam, that one broke too.
Hard luck. But if you have the end of the broken key, perhaps it can be fixed.
It must still be upstairs. I didn't pick it up. Fletcher has a key too, so I didn't think it was a problem. Fancy, if I just had another key with a simpler blade, I could copy it. I'm great at odd jobs.
Fine, I will try to find all of that. Well, see you later then.
Goodbye, sir.
Right. So, I need to go back to the butcher shop.
I have no reason to go that way.
then where the fuck do you want me to go? Seriously, where the fuck do you want me to go? Let me look back what he just said. It must still be upstairs. It must still be upstairs. Is he talking about here? The door behind
I
him?
have no reason to go that way.
I have no idea where the fuck you want me to go, bro.
I have nothing to ask.
Nothing to ask. Alright, go on. Zoom out, tell me what I need to go. Go across and down the street to the cat's meat place where Annie was killed. Oh, shit. Wrong button. I actually don't know what button it was, hold on. X. No. Q. Capital. No. Control. There we go. Oh. Cat's meat place. Aha! And then up the stairs.
Oh, no. But what a... Ah, how dreadful. Kebabs, the same as Hardiman's. So he prepares his meat here. This bag contains butcher's equipment. My word, these are innards.
Okay. Oh, shit. Oh, hello.
Where can I find a key with a simpler blade? On a worthless door, perhaps.
No worthless door.
This key was left inadvertently. Indeed, there is nothing terribly precious inside. But what a stench.
Okay. Am I meant to combine the two? Right, so I'm meant to just talk to Hardiman now. Alright. Were you there a minute ago? I don't think you were. Anyway.
Have you found...
The key.
There you go. I think you'll manage with all of this. I'm sure I will, sir. It won't take me long. Say, I think there's some of your business upstairs. Oh, you're right. I ain't had the time to sort it out. Sometimes I'm in such a hurry to prepare my meat that I forget to clean up. But why do it in the stairwell? Offal bleeds bucket loads, they do, as you've seen. Now, why would I do that in my own lodgings? Ah, of course. But what about your poor neighbours? They owe it to me, all the times I've helped them out. And I don't have a shop either. Say, you sell animal meat, isn't that right? Would you know where I could find a dozen small pig's heads? The guy who gets me my offal should have some. I'll pay your day's wages if you meet me at Fletcher's butcher shop in 2 hours with the pig's heads. Here's a little advance. I'll do my best, Doctor. The caretaker of another building told us that the place where your mother lives has a reputation for facilitating prostitutes' activities. Is that true? Sure, the doors are never closed. They come through here like it's Paddington Station. By the way, I heard about your loss. My condolences. Ta, sir. I saw them die slow deaths. My little girl, her face was eaten by the disease. Thank you, my friend, and please forgive me for bringing up such painful memories. Go, I must do my rounds, and I will look for what you've asked for. As for me, I will go and find Holmes, and we will go to the butcher's together. Let's return to Fletcher's butcher shop.
Oh.
Your heads are on the block inside. Say, you wouldn't be the same chap who bought my whole load the other day.
It's possible, but if you want to continue to do business together, you mustn't speak of my presence in the area to anyone.
Don't worry, my lord. I'll be as quiet as a church mouse.
Fucking better. Anyway, hello.
Holmes, will you explain the reason and rhyme behind this masquerade?
Elementary. We shall conduct an experiment that will allow us to answer a simple question. Does the type of weapon used by the killer correspond to a specific profession?
That's not a dozen. That's 4.
And here are our sow's heads. Congratulations, Watson.
You're welcome, Holmes, but what do you really want to do? Take up a collection?
No.
This wheel is broken and prevents the door from sliding. There is nothing further to find in this room, Watson. However, I need some knives. Our only hope is behind this door.
What do I actually have in my nothing? Oh, Jesus. What's in this stuff? Leave me alone, Watson, please. Maybe there's obviously like pulleys and shit. Oh,
I need something.
wow, the only thing I have is this pocket knife.
This wheel is broken and prevents. This wheel is broken
Yeah,
and
I know. Alright. I'm trying to fix it. What about this one?
I need something. I need something. I need something.
I'll do something else, alright.
This wheel is broken and prevents the...
What's, I don't know. Let's check it. Yeah, that's it.
There, this door is slightly raised. This wheel is broken and
I
prevents the...
know! Shut the fuck up. Alright, so the door is slightly raised.
There is nothing further to find.
No. Can I use this to get this stuff? Yes. And then use this to get it on.
Elementary.
Right.
While I prepare our experiment, could you find me 2 knives? A small one, somewhat larger than a pocket knife, with a large, sharp blade. We'll need it to separate the bones and to cut through the thick skins. Then find me a long knife that's at least 13 inches long, no shorter, that's sharp and has a thick blade.
Fine, Holmes, but I'd like to tell you about Hardiman. Do you know that he prepares his kebabs himself, and...
That he owns butcher's tools and uses offal? That's obvious, Watson. Pray, take my magnifying glass and my rule and get started, Watson. Find me these 2 knives.
Alright. Okay, so somewhat bigger.
With the rule, I must find a large knife.
What about this one? Unless it's meant to be like total length.
Thanks to the magnifying glass, I can find a small knife that matches Holmes's description. Large size. Fragments of cartilage. Fragments of cartilage. Large size. Fragments of cartilage.
Did I?
Large.
Okay. What did he say? Head. No. Small ones with a long, sharp blade. So small, but with a long blade. Small with long blade. Small with long blade. This one. And then, what was the one? The long knife that's at least 13 inches long. No shorter. That's sharp and has a thick blade. So. Okay, so I've got the knives now.
Here are the knives you asked for. Be careful, they're awfully sharp. Holmes, I must say that this experiment is making me rather uneasy, comparing animal heads to these poor women.
You're right, Watson, but this somewhat shocking experiment may help to end this massacre and save other victims, you can be sure of that. Look, these pigs' heads are still bloody, which will suit our experiment perfectly. I have a pocket knife and a scalpel with me. With the two knives you just brought me, we have a similar array of weapons as those probably used by the killer. We saw 3 types of throat wounds on the deceased attributed to this man, those intended to slit the throat, those intended to decapitate, and the more superficial yet mortal wound that led to the death of the unfortunate victim in Dutfield's yard, Miss Stride. With the help of these 4 knives, we are going to try to recreate these wounds on the pigs' heads and see what we can establish about the weapon or weapons used. We may also be able to rule out Miss Stride as a victim of the killer of the other 3.
So, yep. There's a most reproducible runes done on the victim for us attempt to decapitate the superficial wound. Right, okay. How does it want me to do this? Oh, I see. Wait, no, I don't see. What does it want me to do? Seriously, what the fuck does it want me to do? Like, click them? So that's
Let's try to use these weapons on this head to obtain a large deep wound to the throat, like those that were noted on 3 of the 4 victims.
so if it's large and deep, I'm gonna guess this.
This little knife is very sharp and has a very wide blade. This pocket knife is very sharp, but its blade is too thin.
Scalpel the too thin, so it's not for this one. Yeah.
Look, Watson, this knife easily penetrates the flesh.
Let's go with this one. Right. So
Let's try to decapitate our victim with these tools, knowing that the killer didn't quite manage to do it.
Charming.
I reckon it's probably this first one.
Look, Watson, this little knife with a wide base can easily slice the vertebrae of our porcine friend.
Yeah, so it's that one.
Let's see if these knives can inflict a mortal wound in a situation where a single quick blow is given. The scenario in question is that of Dutfield's yard. This particularly sharp blade can make a deep gash with one quick slice. In using the cutting edge of this pocket knife's blade, I can scrape the skin. Look, Watson, the blade sinks easily into the flesh. It cuts through the flesh easily as the blade is so sharp.
I think it was this one.
Let's see if these knives can...
Yeah.
Let's try to use these weapons. Let's try to decapitate.
Charming.
What? It's referring to. Mind you, I didn't even try, to be perfectly honest with you.
Let's see if these knives can inflict a mortal wound in a situation.
1, 3, and 4.
Elementary.
Elementary. Oh. What?
Let's try to decapitate our...
Charming.
Maybe I actually have to use them.
The blade of this pocket knife is too thin. With a scalpel, the wound is too... This knife with a long blade easily slices the flesh, but cannot dislocate the vertebrae. Elementary. Elementary.
Elementary.
Let's try to use these weapons. This little knife is very sharp. This pocket knife is very... The wound is too shallow. Elementary. Elementary.
That's not everything. So it's going to be this one.
That's it, Watson. The big knife. With respect to the opinion of the medical examiners who noted that a butcher's knife with a long blade would have caused the eviscerations on some of the victims, we can assume, Watson, that he only used this type of weapon as it is capable of inflicting all of the wounds displayed. Furthermore, the Dutfield's Yard murder remains attributable, for the moment, to the Whitechapel killer, if we are able to explain why the murderer used his knife in a different manner. Why not go there now? We will try to reenact the killer's actions that night. Our first objective will be to clarify, one way or another, the statements of Constable Smith, as well as this Hungarian by the name of Schwartz. We must also try to find out more about the International Working Men's Educational Club, underneath which the murder took place, perhaps at the Wasp's Nest.
Yes, let's go to Dutfield's Yard or wherever, but quickly. I am in urgent need of fresh air.
Let's go to the Wasp's Nest.
We'll get fresh air at fucking at Whitechapel. Right, the Wasp's Nest is it?
Don't forget that Bluto may still be hiding here. I will try to find out more inside. You, Watson, must intercept the policeman on his rounds. Given the hour and a bit of luck, it will be Smith. Try to get some information from him.
Understood, Holmes.
So that's who am I going to play as? So who? This. Okay. Probably best talking to this guy.
A draft, my good man.
Here, sir.
Tell me, was it not a mere stone's throw away from here that the Whitechapel killer struck last week?
That'd be Jack the Ripper, that's his name. Slit the throat of a working girl in a small courtyard over there behind them big wooden doors.
Below the Workers' Club?
The very spot, below Lipsky and Co. I wouldn't be surprised if Jack was one of them, if you catch my drift.
Lipsky and Company. Do you mean to say that someone called Lipsky runs this club?
Nah, it's just that it's full of Jews. In Whitechapel, we call them all Lipskys, like that Lipsky who killed that girl in Batty Street last year.
Oh, really?
Last year, a Jew named Israel Lipsky killed a lass who was 6 months pregnant by making her drink acid.
Oh, Jesus.
One trial and one protest by rabbis later, and he was hanging. By those who don't much like him, the Jews are called Lipskys.
Is the term Lipskys used to refer to the Jews in the area, and is this club frequented by Jews?
You got it. Socialist Jews, even. They spend their evenings hollering, singing. I've seen them spitting on the bosses.
Sorry.
And you know the victim?
No more her than any other. The working girls don't drum up business too much in this street. They need a reason to end up here.
And I think we all know that.
Very well. Goodbye.
Cheers.
Is that everything?
If you're looking for some company, Gov, you've come to the wrong...
That's
Hello.
okay.
I know you. You're Squibby's guardian angel. You weren't dressed the same last time, but I don't forget a face. No hard feelings, eh? Join me in a glass?
Your Jack the Ripper is on everyone's lips and written in all of the papers. You must be awfully proud of yourself. You have skill, that's for certain. It's a shame you use it to mask rather than discover the truth.
You better believe that I'm going to find out who it is. I got a hold of old Schwartz's interpreter. You know, the Hungarian who saw Liz Stride get it. Doesn't speak a word of English. And when he went round to the station, another Jew went along to interpret. I found that bloke, and he repeated everything that had been said at the station. It won't be long before I find these fellows.
Why do you say these fellows? Were there several of them?
Do you not read the papers, or what? Well, given the rubbish that you read sometimes. Let me explain. At 12:45 a.m., Schwartz goes down Burner Street towards Fairclough, on the side of the road where the Workers' Club is.
Fairclough, it's
A bit
Fairclough.
further from there, just near Dutfield Yard's wooden doors, a chap and a lady are arguing. The Star said that the bloke wanted to push the girl into Dutfield's yard, but the translator told me that Schwartz saw him pulling her towards the road. She doesn't want to follow. He grabs her by the shoulders and throws her to the ground. She falls a bit, but not too loudly. Old Schwartz is scared, crosses to the other side, but continues in the same direction. The bloke with the girl notices him and yells, "Lipsky!" At the same time, another bloke at the corner of Fairclough and Burner who was lighting his pipe gets in on the action. He starts coming towards Schwartz in a menacing way, and Schwartz takes to his heels, doesn't see anything else. Once he finds out that a woman got herself killed, he went to testify and identified Long Liz Stride as the woman he saw getting thrown about. So there were definitely two blokes, mate. But why am I telling you all this?
In vino veritas.
What does that mean?
I'll take my leave then, Mr. Bulling.
That's right. Till next time.
First and foremost, I must find P.C. Smith.
Is that on him? Alexa, what does in vino veritas mean?
From answers.com. In vino veritas is Latin for in wine, the truth.
In wine, the truth. Hello, my friend.
Good evening, Constable.
Good evening, sir.
I am Dr. Watson.
Good evening, sir.
Would you happen to be P.C. Smith, the man who patrols this beat?
That's me. And you work with the famous Sherlock Holmes, don't you? What can I do for you?
It literally wasn't. Okay.
I believe you were on duty the night when the murder took place here. You would certainly be able to confirm a few details, such as the time of death that the medical examiner gave.
It's just that I wasn't there when the body was discovered. I don't think I can help you.
But I was told that you had seen the victim that very night.
Indeed. But it was before the murder. I saw her, not far from here. She was talking to a man. It was around 12:30 or 12:35 a.m.
A man?
What did this man look like?
I only saw him from behind, really. He was wearing a short black outfit, a small felt hat like a cap in a dark colour, and a white collar. He seemed to be a respectable type. He was carrying a packet in his hand, wrapped in newspaper, about 18 inches long and about 6 inches wide.
His outfit reminds me of someone that I know. Was he a large man, on the older side?
I don't think so, no. Even though I only saw him from behind, I would say that he was barely 30 years old, or even less. Say 28, or even less. 26 years old, and 5 foot 8 inches tall at the very most. He had a small dark brown moustache and an olive complexion, I would say, but once again, I only caught a brief glimpse of his face in three-quarter profile.
Nobody else saw this man?
I discussed this previously with Mr. Eagle, the president of the Workers' Club. That night he returned around 12:40 a.m. to the club. He used the passage through Dutfield's yard to get into the club because the main door was locked. He can attest that he didn't see anyone else in the passage at that time, but wasn't really paying attention to who else might have been in Burner Street itself. He was listening to the song coming from the club. In short, no one else saw him.
Well, thank you for having satisfied my curiosity, my friend.
A fine evening to you, Doctor.
Yeah. Satisfying curiosity. Oh, I just realised that we're on the same, fucking street. I was meant to talk to each other.
Well, Watson, let's go to Dutfield's yard.
Where is it? Secret. No. Maybe I need someone. Hospital, no. Hanbury, no. Where's Dutfield Yard? Wait, didn't you say that like Dutfield Yard is like here? I think. Like, if I... Is it over here? No. It said something... Yeah, it said that it's behind the wooden door, so it would have been like right here, wouldn't it? Or at least one of them, or is it over here? No. Right, so where am I meant to go then? Down Burn Street from the pub and see the Jewish Club building. At left, in between two buildings, is the Duffield and the car park. What is it talking about? Up here.
Dutfield's Yard.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Your interrogation of P.C. Smith has proven to be very shrewd and of great interest. Thanks to the information I've managed to gather and that you were able to read in my notes in Baker Street, Watson, we can recreate what happened that fateful night at this location, Dutfield's Yards to be precise, the site of Liz Stride's murder.
Okay, midnight. The club meeting ends.
Midnight, the Socialist Club meeting ends. The members, mainly Jewish men, gradually begin to leave the club in little groups or alone.
Okay, so... American goes after some air... No, out for some air. That's at 12:20.
12:20 a.m., the American leaves the Socialists Club for some fresh air. The street is deserted.
Man with the packet between 12:30 and 12:35.
12:30 to 12:35 a.m., Smith notices Liz Stride talking to the man with the package. 12:40 a.m., Eagle, the president of the club, enters the Workers' Club via the passageway through Dutfield's Yard. He passed through Dutfield's Yard. If Liz Stride had already been killed, he would have had to walk over her. The murder, therefore, had not yet happened. 12:43 a.m., Israel Swartz passes by Dutfield's Yard and witnesses the attack on Liz Stride.
Okay, 44.
12:44 a.m., Schwartz crosses to the other side of the road. The attacker sees him and yells, "Lipsky." The attacker must have shouted to his accomplice at the end of the road, "Lipsky," indicating at Schwartz using his head in an attempt to scare off this undesirable. 12:45 a.m., Schwartz runs away, followed for a short distance by this man.
Okay, and that's 1.
1 a.m., Mr. Diemschutz wants to enter with his cart, but the pony refuses. We know that the murder took place between 12:45 and 1 a.m. Mr. Diemschutz, therefore, must have disturbed the killer. Let's place Liz Stride's murder on the timeline, Watson. 12:45 to 1 a.m., the murder of Liz Stride. It took place in this very spot, as the traces of blood were very confined. We will come back to this point in a few moments to elaborate on what could have happened. Well, we are still missing certain information in order to finish this investigation, Watson, imagine the victim laid down there on the ground. The throat, there is but one clean cut, slightly slanted downwards.
I don't know. Hold on. Right-handed, strong man. I said from his height, but yeah. Right, anyway.
Her right hand, it is bloody, as is her wrist. Her left hand, it is closed around a bag of pastils. The throat, there is.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
Her left hand, it is. The ground is muddy.
Still stuff to.
The ground is muddy. Her knees and dress, they are clean.
Okay, that's everything. Is that everything? Maybe? Where's the deduction? There it is. Okay, needs a bottle of dress to clean, the ground's dirty. Didn't struggle on the ground. Victim's killed upright. Yeah, approximate same height. Yeah, bloody right hand and wrist. Which one wasn't slit?
We have two possibilities. The first is that Liz Stride's killer and the attacker, seen by Schwartz, were one and the same man. The second is that Liz Stride meets a client. After some discussion, they head towards Dutfield's yard to do their business. As soon as they arrive, the attacker appears while his accomplice keeps watch. Schwartz's arrival dissuades the two men from lingering. They leave the area and leave Liz Stride in a tense state, but glad to have kept her client. He will be her murderer. Both hypotheses are possible, but an incongruous detail will serve to corroborate one of them. An incongruous detail that we were able to establish regarding the Hanbury Street murder. Which one would that be, Watson? Look at the victim carefully, Watson, and tell me the link between the murder of Liz Stride and those of Nichols and Chapman.
Well, there's many things, but...
No, that's not it.
The bag of pastils, Holmes.
The bag of pastils. Indeed, Watson. If this woman had to defend herself against an attacker, why would she have held onto this bag in her hand? It didn't fall because this woman's hand tensed at the moment when she fell to the ground. Therefore, Watson, we know the killer distracted his victim's attention by making them take something out of their pockets. Why didn't he slit her throat like the others? He must have feared a struggle with this strong-willed woman. Why didn't he eviscerate her? Because Louis Diemschutz arrived.
Do you think the Whitechapel killer is behind this murder, Holmes?
Yes, and now this murder has been linked to its rightful perpetrator, it will take on deeper meaning when we have examined the facts from that night. Let's go to Mitre Square, where Catherine Eddowes was killed. And make haste, Watson, as we have another murder to commit in 40 minutes. Here we are, Watson, Mitre Square. It took us a mere 20 minutes to get here. If the killer left Dutfield's yard around 1 o'clock, as we assume, he would have arrived here at around 1:20 a.m. We know that Catherine Eddowes' body was discovered at 1:44 a.m. Catherine was released from prison around 1 o'clock, but we have no information as to what she could have been doing until her death. This place has 3 possible ways out. Let's see where they lead. As a precaution, I brought an old map of the area with me. It will help us get our bearings.
Let's hurry, Holmes. This neighbourhood makes me ill at ease.
Okay. Control Sherlock. Yeah, of course I do.
This is Mitre Street, from where Watkins, the constable who found the body, came.
This place.
Church Passage. It must be opposite the Imperial Club at 16 to 17 Duke Street. Let's go to the end of this lane, Watson. Church Passage. It must... Hello, you must be Abraham Solomonovich, am I right?
Yes, that's me. But I know you. You brought a lad to my place to take care of a cat, and I loaned you my mask.
That's me. May I present?
Dr. Watson, of course. Delighted. And you? I have known for a few days that you are a detective by the name of Sherlock Holmes. Is that so?
You don't miss a thing, do you? It was the children who gave me away. Am I right?
They didn't want to, but I gained their confidence by offering them a small comb and half a cake.
They made a good deal out of it, so I don't blame them. However, I must request, as a personal favor, that you do not reveal my identity.
You have my word. Curiosity is just killing me, as you may have guessed. Would it be breaking an oath to confide in me the nature of the investigation that you are leading?
Does this spot where we are now in Mitre Square mean anything to you?
A demon lives in this city, Mr. Holmes. These unmentionable acts degrade the human race and put the Jewish community in terrible danger.
Lots of rumors are circulating, but they are but rumors. I see you're leaving the Imperial Club. It's a stone's throw away from Mitre Square, and the two recent murders were most probably discussed in there. Do you know if anyone from the club saw or heard anything that night?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. That night, 3 members of our club saw a woman talking to a man at the very spot where we are standing, a few minutes before the body was found. At the end of this passage. Fantastic, Holmes.
Calm yourself, Watson. There is nothing at the moment to suggest it was the victim. Can we meet these members?
I am afraid that won't be possible. As soon as the police heard the evidence of these men, they were sworn to silence.
I understand.
But you are working for the good, and I must tell you what I know. One of the 3 men, my friend Joseph, left that night with 2 other members of the Imperial Club, Harry and another Joseph. It was around 1:35 a.m., perhaps a bit earlier, when Joseph, not my friend, but the other, the Aldgate butcher, exited. He saw a man and a woman in discussion at this very spot where we are.
These men must have been about 16 feet away from the couple.
That's about right. So Joseph, the butcher, said to the other 2, while pointing at the couple, "Look, I don't like going home alone when I see this kind of people here." My friend Joseph looked at them without noticing anything strange and didn't understand what he meant. They had the look of 2 rather unkempt people, but no more than that.
After the murder, did these 3 men tell the police what they had seen?
Not quite. Harry stated that he hadn't seen the couple. As for Joseph, the butcher, even though he was the one who commented on them and pointed them out, said that he couldn't remember anything except that the man was about 3 inches taller than the woman, who was 5 feet tall, no more. My friend Joseph, on the other hand, did his best to cooperate with the police.
And what did your friend Joseph say? What did this man and woman look like?
The man must have been 30 years old, about 5 foot 7 inches, light complexion, and a fair moustache. He wore a loose, dark jacket, a grey cap, and a red scarf around his neck. But he said that he only saw him for a brief instant, and it would be impossible to recognize him.
And the woman?
He only saw her from behind. She had her hand on the man's stomach and seemed to be pushing him. He said that he remembered that she was small, was wearing a black jacket and a black bonnet. After his testimony, the police took him to see the clothing of the deceased, and Joseph said that they looked identical to those of the woman he had seen. Like I already said, he only glanced at the two, as he was headed with the others in the direction of Aldgate.
One final question. The Imperial Club is a Jewish club, isn't that correct?
Indeed.
Thank you for your help, Mr. Solomonovich.
Bah, it was nothing. We must at all cost prevent this demon from striking again. And the police seem to have some difficulty in doing that. I wish you the best of luck, Mr. Holmes.
Yes. Okay.
Closed. This building is the Great Synagogue of London.
Okay. Alright, I suppose that's it. I'm meant to go back in, I guess. So I believe she was found over here. Yes.
Watson, we are now in the exact spot where poor Eddowes tragically ended her days.
This spot is very dark, Holmes.
That is probably why our murderer chose it. I need something. Now then, we will need a lantern.
I've got one.
Now then, we will need a lantern.
I've got one.
Now then, we will need a lantern. Now then, we will need a lantern.
For fuck's sake. Newspaper. What does that say? London Workhouse.
Nothing of interest here.
Where is everything? What about over here? Because I didn't go over here.
This dark and narrow passage leads to St. James's Place. I need something. Nothing of interest here.
I need something.
Take the lantern, Watson.
There we go.
This dark and narrow passage leads...
Okay. Come on, Watson. Shine a light over here, bro. Need you over here. There we go. Alright.
Do these objects spread out by the victim remind us of anything, Watson? The main incision goes from the sternum all the way down to the groin. The murderer opened this abdomen as if it were an animal carcass. A kidney was removed. The uterus was removed. The head is turned towards the left. The murderer must have been on the right side of his victim. Let's look at her from the front.
Holy shit.
The nose was cut.
Cool, it's fucking gone.
The cheeks were slashed to make them thinner. There is but one wound, Watson. It goes from the left side and descends in a slight oblique towards the right side. The eyelids were cut off. The eyelids were cut off.
What about this thing? Is that everything, maybe? What about the face here? Oh, right there.
These intestines were pulled out altogether to grant access to the abdomen. A thimble is located right beside one of the victim's hands, just like Chapman's sachet of pills and Stride's pastils. The inside of the thighs is clean. Once again, there were no sexual relations between the victim and her murderer. Part of this apron is missing. We will follow up on that shortly.
My goodness, Holmes, it was a slaughter.
Understand, Watson, that our killer had neither the time nor the conditions to bother with the niceties. He had no more than 7 or 8 minutes at most to kill the woman, open her up, and all the while in total darkness.
Holmes, it's a woman, a poor victim you're talking about.
Consider all the time this man lost and the risks that he actually took by cutting the victim's face and the lower abdomen in around 20 precise spots, especially the lungs and the liver. These attacks, which I considered gratuitous, are in fact nothing of the sort, and have as much sense as the removal of the organs. Watson, we must now consult our timeline. We began in Dutfield's yard, but this time we will try to recreate the actions of certain people, in this case, those of the two policemen.
Okay. 1:30.
1:30 a.m. P.C. Watkins didn't see the corpse while on his rounds. If P.C. Watkins did his rounds properly, and there is no reason to doubt this was the case, as he discovered the corpse a quarter of an hour later, the murder hadn't yet taken place, and there was no one in Mitre Square, unless they were hidden among the shadows. Enter Mitre Square via Mitre Street, Watson, and stop and try to see me with the lantern. I will be where poor Edow's corpse was.
Wait, with the lantern.
I see you, Holmes.
Perfect, Watson. Let's look at our timeline, Watson.
So yeah, I already did that. The murder had taken place at 1:30.
Very good, Watson. Thus we can categorically state that the murder had not yet occurred at 1:30.
1:35. Man in discussion at entrance to the church passage.
1:35 a.m. A man and a woman are arguing at the entrance of Church Passage. The man came from Aldgate. 1:42 a.m. P.C. Harvey arrives in Mitre Square. It should be noted, Watson, that the constable didn't enter Mitre Square. He could not have seen the corpse lying on the ground. But would he have been able to see a man sitting or standing? Go to the Church Passage entrance, then come back and try to see me while holding your lantern. I will stay at the spot where the victim was discovered.
Okay.
I see you, Holmes.
You had to proceed into the square in order to see me, something Harvey didn't do. It is possible that the killer was still there. 1:42 a.m. P.C. Harvey arrives at Mitre Square, but does not go in. The murderer may well have still been there. 1:44 a.m. The body is discovered. Let's put the murder of poor Eddowes on the timeline, Watson. 1:35 and 1:42 a.m. The murder would appear to have taken place between these times, that is to say, within 7 minutes.
Agreed, Holmes. But does this really prove that our killer had the time to perpetrate these two murders?
Let's look at our timeline, Watson. There, Watson. We are now certain that the murderer really had the time to commit these two murders.
Incredible!
Let's look at our deduction board, Watson.
Okay. Oh god. Now. Thimble. Yeah, I've done some stuff here. Wait, the winter net goes from the right slightly oblique and descending. This one maybe? Let's say this. This. No, so it's right-handed. Why is this? Oh, this is why. No. There we go. Towards brine. Part of an animal, yeah, you said that. Open was cut out. Three are very orderly. But shit.
This spot is making me nauseous. Can we not head back, Holmes?
We certainly can't, Watson. We have one final point to address. Do you remember the piece of white apron that was missing just now? It was found just a few steps away from here, at the entrance of a building. That's where we must go.
Where does it want me to go? Yeah. Right, once we're supposed to go.
Let's go.
Okay.
There's the spot, Watson. By night, Goulston Street is deathly silent, which will permit us to carry out a fair few experiments. Let's find the entrance where the piece of the victim's apron and the mysterious chalk message were found. Look at these signs, Watson. We are in the Jewish High Street.
Oh, Solomon of a Gene.
Nothing of interest here.
Oh. What? Oh, wait. What's this?
There's the spot where the apron and the message were found by PC Long. Now, let's recreate the scene. Remember, Watson, it was raining that night. Find me something with which to mimic raindrops hitting this wall while I write something with my chalk.
The Jews are not the men that will be blamed for nothing. But what does it mean?
Have you found something for us to pour water from, Watson?
Find a container and some water. Let me remind you that it's night time and the street is deserted, Holmes. That may come in handy. Who knows? That may come in handy. Who knows?
Would you not count? That's it.
I have no reason to go that way.
Oh.
A watering can. That's what I need. But I can't reach it. A watering can. That's what I need.
Do I need like an extra stick? Probably. So basically I'm going to need a stick that will attach to it. To reach it. So it's over here. No. Where is it? I like how there is just a watering can just there. Aha.
An old wooden...
Where would I get water from? This barrel.
Water.
Have you found something for us to pour?
Yes, I have, Holmes.
If this message were written by the killer, then it would have been lying in this entrance for up to 35 minutes before being discovered. Let's find out in what state it must have been. This message could not have withstood an entire night in the rain. During the investigations carried out on the night of the double murder, PC Hulse inspected the entrances of this street around 2:20 a.m. and confirmed to have seen nothing out of the ordinary. At 2:55 a.m., 35 minutes later, PC Long found Catherine Edow's piece of apron and the message in chalk. This message would not have withstood a whole night in the rain, as had I continued to water it for a little longer, I would certainly have erased it. It was written, therefore, at the moment when the piece of apron was dumped. This substantiates PC Hulse's statement, which stated he had seen neither of these during his rounds. After its discovery, it was guarded and protected from the rain, which was subsiding, which explains why it was still legible when it was erased at 5:30. My dear Watson, when you met P.C. Smith on his rounds in the street, where was he? On the pavement or in the middle of the road?
In the middle of the road, Holmes, without a shadow of a doubt.
Good. You will go down the street with your lantern as if you were a policeman on patrol, using Smith's position as a guide. As soon as you see the entrance where I used the watering can, tell me if you see anything.
Okay, so... When you get a moment... Oh, we've got it.
No, you aren't in the right spot with the lamp, Watson.
Right, well, I'm in the middle of the street. What to do? What do you want me to do? Oh. Until the first lamp on the left. Turn left and go forward 3 times towards Holmes. First moment.
There, Holmes. From here, I can see something written.
Can you read it?
No.
Do you see the white rag, Watson?
I see something on the ground, but I'm not sure if it's what you were talking about.
P.C. Long, who found the piece of apron, was examining the interior of the entrances, and yet nobody would have predicted that this piece of material would be discovered on the very night of the murder by a policeman on patrol.
What are you trying to get at, Holmes?
Let's look at this message on the wall, Watson. The Jews are not the men that will be blamed for nothing. In other words, the Jews were possibly blamed for nothing, but that will no longer be the case. Reading this message naturally begs one question. What would that be, Watson?
Why?
Indeed, Watson, why? For what reason would one have the right to blame the Jews in the future? Remember, Lestrade was killed near a club for socialist Jews, Edow's not far from a synagogue and the Imperial Club, and finally, this piece of apron dropped here. This building is occupied by Jewish families. The killer really did go out of his way to incriminate the Jews living in the area.
It's a bit obvious, Holmes.
Yes, but with the rumors, Watson, the author of this message would have received a response to his strategy.
You are right, Holmes. So perhaps it's a good thing this message was erased.
Whoever took the decision to do this is a man of great wisdom and courage. Let's return to Baker Street, Watson. I have some pipes to smoke to help me think more clearly.
I have some,
Let's go back to Baker Street.
I've got some devil's
Home,
lettuce
sweet
that would
home.
help me think.
I had nightmares all night, Holmes. As for you, I bet you didn't get a wink of sleep, did you? It's this chalk message business, isn't it?
Among other things.
And this lunatic is still running free. If only we knew what he looked like.
But we do know, Watson. We have a fairly accurate description.
I must have missed an episode of your adventures, Holmes. Not only have I heard you discredit the value of our eyewitnesses, but the few descriptions we do have don't seem to correspond.
An inaccurate account can regain its value if we can discover why and to what extent the truth must be rewritten. We've learned a great many things tonight, and I'm able to tell you what our man looks like.
Really?
Yes, and we're going to need a few things, Watson. Find me 3 mannequins, my worker's costume, my 3 full wigs, one of your worn garments, yes, that can be used for the workman's outfit, and one of your old suits. Oh, and my deer stalker, the one I never wear, but everyone seems to think I wear day and night.
True, actually true. I don't know how long I've been recording for, but I'm actually gonna leave it there for now. So I wanted to like end it after like looking at other things. Jeez, Christ, dusty. So thank you very much for watching. If you are enjoying this series, I want to get it finished. I'm really enjoying the game, so thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, you know, all that jizzle jazz, and I'll see you all next time, whatever that may be. Not too long, I hope. So yeah, I'll see you all later, and goodbye. Shit.